Good day, everybody. All right, we're going to start a new text today. It is called Sleep. Why do you need shut-eye? And we're going to think about this first page and do our first read-through in this video. Then there will be videos following for our later rereading and focus questions. Okay? In this video, all we're going to do is run through our normal beginning routine. We're going to circle the title, we're going to underline the author, we're going to explain what genre this piece of text is. We are going to move down and fill out a build background idea, right? And then we're going to go on and we're going to pre-read the text, which means I'm going to read it aloud with as much expression and as clearly as I can, just to give an example of how it sounds when you read with expression. So let's get started because I don't want this video to be very long, right? Let's start with circling our title. We know that when we circle our title, we circle the entire thing from sleep, and then the subtitle, why do you need shut-eye, is just as important, especially because we're going to have more than one text that starts with the word sleep for the title. Next, we're going to underline our author's name. In this case, our author is Dawn Woodward, so we're going to underline that name. I realize you can't underline on your page unless you have already received your paper copy, so don't worry about trying to underline. There'll be a question in a second. Next, we are going to give the genre of this text. Now, we would have to think this through a little bit, so let's take a moment and we'll come back to the genre question after we've read the first 2 pages, okay? In the meantime, let's look at some of our context clues. Just where you are as you're watching, just kind of call out, what do you see here? I see 3 things that I think are important. What do you see? And finally, let's think about our build background question. Now, our build background question in this case is, what do we already know about this subject? What do you think is the effect on a person when they don't get enough sleep? Can we give some ideas about that? Now, we're still in early stages, so we're actually going to be given an idea of what we might write here, but that might not be exactly what you would write. The build background question, the answer they give us is, not getting enough sleep makes it hard to think. A person might get sick if they don't get enough sleep, and those are both really good examples. Really good examples. All right, we're going to move on now. We're going to start our pre-reading, remembering that we want to think about the genre of this text. So we want to think about whether this is going to be marked as fiction or nonfiction. If it is fiction, then it's a narrative. If it's nonfiction, we still need to decide whether it's a narrative, meaning it tells a story, whether it is persuasive, which means it's trying to convince us of something, or whether it's informative, meaning it's trying to give us information and teach us something. Let's move on to the next page. Now let's read aloud, and as we go, we'll think about our annotations that we might want to make, right? For most living things, sleep is a necessary part of life. It allows organisms like you the time needed to restore themselves. During the day, all parts of your body are active. Your muscles and heart work constantly, pumping blood to your organs. Your lungs are busy taking in oxygen and pushing out carbon dioxide. Your arms, legs, and even your toes are busy moving your body. Shut-eye is necessary to give your body a break from some of this work. Humans' bodies go through 2 major stages of sleep. One major stage is called non-rapid eye movement sleep, or NREM sleep. We might just call that NREM. The other stage is rapid eye movement sleep, or REM sleep. REM sleep is so named because your eyes are moving rapidly beneath your eyelids while you're in this stage of rest. REM sleep is the deepest stage of sleep. This is the time when your body is in its most unconscious state. I'm going to stop there for a moment and think about a couple of annotations we could make. I'm going to circle the word stages because I'm interested in what they mean by stages of sleep, right? I'm going to put a question mark next to that because I do have a question. I have a wondering about this. What do we mean by 2 major stages of sleep? That sounds like important information. And I'm going to underline the phrase, REM sleep is so named because your eyes are moving rapidly beneath your eyelids while you are in this stage of rest. That sounds kind of wild, doesn't it? So in the annotations box to the right, we would write stages of sleep, REM, NREM. Just a quick note, notice it's not a complete sentence like our focus questions answers would be, because annotations are just our notes to ourselves. Notes do not have to be written in complete sentences or really with any kind of rules. They just have to be clear to you when you go back and reread your notes. And when we left off with, this is the time when your body is in its most unconscious state. An unconscious state, sorry, I got a bunch of reminders popping up. Now when we left off with, this is the time when your body is in its most unconscious state. An unconscious state means that your muscles become stiff and that you may not react to what is going on around you. While you are in this unconscious state, noises or light probably will not wake you up. REM sleep is when you might dream about winning that soccer game on Saturday or being the next big rock star. The NREM stage is the longest stage we experience during sleep. While in NREM sleep, our bodies go through 3 sleep cycles. These cycles are named simply NREM 1, NREM 2, and NREM 3. NREM 1 begins when we lie down and close our eyes. During this cycle, we start to drift off to sleep. In NREM 1, we can wake up fairly easily. We also might be able to resume normal activities if we were awakened during the sleep cycle. While in the NREM 1 cycle, a noise such as a cat meowing or a car horn might stir us out of the sleeping state. During the NREM 2 and NREM 3 cycles, we sleep more deeply. We are unaware of our surroundings and are sound asleep. Now we're going to move the page in just a moment, but I just want to go ahead and click right here. We're going to put a question mark here because this is a lot of information in a short time. It's dense information. And we want to make sure that if you have any questions about this, they're addressed, right? I'm also going to go ahead and click here. It says in our annotations, we are unaware of our surroundings and are sound asleep. If I were making this annotation, I would probably have also written the words NREM 2 and NREM 3, right? Because I would want to make it clear to myself that I wasn't talking about NREM 1. What we've heard so far is that in NREM 1, we're very lightly asleep and we can still wake quickly if we hear a noise. In NREM 2 and 3, that's where we have this deeper sleep, where we're unaware of our surroundings and are sound asleep. If we were woken during either the NREM 2 cycle or the NREM 3 cycle, it would not be as easy for us to wake up. We would not have enough energy to engage our regular activities right away. During sleep, our bodies work through each of these stages and cycles until something or someone wakes us in the morning. Each stage and cycle of sleep is necessary and important for a full night's sleep. I'm going to go ahead and circle the word engage, right? We kind of talked about this when we talked about as an athlete. When we engage in something, it means we take part. We really do our part of it, right? So to engage in regular activities just means simply to do our regular activities. So our annotation was we are unaware of our surroundings and are sound asleep, and we are ready to move on to page 22. All right, and on page 22, we see we have one long paragraph, so let's go ahead and read that. I'll move the page down as I go. The one part of your body that never sleeps is your brain. The human brain is working hard while the rest of the body sleeps. During REM sleep, your brain is busy storing everything it experienced during the day. It is sorting and packing away memories. It is cataloging things that you learned. Your brain is also preparing your body for the next day. REM sleep is also the time you dream. Your brain may keep a small memory of a dream or two, but it isn't storing dreams. Your brain is also getting itself ready for the next day. It is getting ready to take in information at school. It is getting your body ready for physical activities like a Saturday morning soccer game. It is important that you sleep so that your brain can reboot. I'm going to move the page now. If you do not sleep, you may not be able to store useful information. Without sleep, you could not restore your body. Without sleep, you could not restore your energy to do your best at that soccer game. Now, I'm not going to edit that where I made a slight mistake there because you might have picked up that I made a slight mistake on the last page too and left it in. I'm going to leave that one in too because when we're reading out loud and we make slight mistakes, we have to think about whether they affect the meaning of what we're saying. So on the last page, I don't know if you caught it, but I said engage something about hour instead of in, and it didn't change the meaning, so I didn't correct it. This time, the mistake that I made would have changed the meaning of what I was saying, so I needed to stop and change it. So we're going to underline the human brain is working hard while the rest of the body sleeps, because that is an important thing to know, right? What the brain does during REM sleep, the human body is the rest of the body is resting up and rejuvenating, but the brain itself has work to do. So we're putting a question mark next to this. During REM sleep, your brain is busy storing everything it experienced during the day, and our annotation says what the brain does during REM sleep. I'm also circling the word cataloging. When we catalog things, that's an important distinction to make. When we catalog things, we're not just putting them away, right? To catalog things means putting them away in an organized system where they can all be found later. I think about a library shelf, cataloging something. And then down at the bottom of the page, I'm going to circle the word restore as well. Without sleep, you could not restore your energy to do your best at that soccer game. Restoring something is putting it back, right? Putting it back, getting it back. All right, we're ready to move on to page 23. And make it bigger. And we'll start reading at the top. How much sleep does a person need to stay healthy? How many hours should an adult sleep? How long should a baby sleep? The answer is never simple. The answer is not simple. The number of hours of sleep an individual needs depends on a variety of factors. Babies need more sleep than adults because their brains are developing. In general, babies need about 16 hours of sleep a night. Babies also need a nice, long, refreshing nap of about 2 to 3 hours during the day. Most adults need somewhere between 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. So we have this kind of summary of the different needs ranging from babies to adults, right? The number of hours of sleep needed. Most adults needing somewhere between 7 and 9 hours of sleep a night makes sense to me. If you can get a baby to take a 2 or 3 hour nap during the day, you are better at caring for babies than I am, but they do probably need that much, even if they take it in small bites. Finally, how much sleep do you need? You should get between 9 and 11 hours of sleep every night. Kids' bodies need this time to rest, recharge, and get ready for a new day. However, the amount of sleep you need depends on how you are feeling. If you are sick or recovering from an illness or injury, you need more sleep. The more sleep you get, the more effectively your body will be able to fight infections and repair itself. A good night's sleep will almost always make you feel better in the morning. When you're rested and healthy, your brain, your lungs, your heart, and your other muscles will be ready for a new day. All right, so that concludes our pre-reading, but now let's go back to that first page just to finish up. And let's fill in the genre. So if we look at this box that says genre, remember our options here were first to decide whether this is fiction or nonfiction, and then to decide what kind, right? I'm going to go ahead and hazard a guess here that we should be thinking nonfiction. And what I read was a lot of information about how sleep works. So I'm going to think this is an informative nonfiction text, right? They're going to label it informational text. I hope that makes good sense to everybody. If you have any questions, you're welcome to email Mr. Gwinn, that's me, or possibly Mr. Day. And other than that, we're just going to finish up this video. Remember that you must watch the video all the way to the end, or else Edpuzzle will not count it as a complete video for you.